him, had good conversations with him. I think he's done good work. His A Lamp in the Darkness, I think, is an outstanding video showing the Catholic Church hatred for the King James Bible. There is another one, The Hidden History of the Founding Fathers, and he actually goes into the quotations of some of the men like Jefferson and Franklin and others, Tom Paine and those. These men were deists. These men were not Christian men. Some of the statements of George Washington, who history tells us was a Freemason. But so I'm not knocking Chris and his video. I happen to agree with it. But here's another issue that I think needs to be brought into the scene, is the idea that at the time of the signing of the Declaration, at the formation of the U.S. Constitution, we were not being totally run by deist principles or Freemasonic principles. You had elected men from 13 colonies elected by the people of their particular colony or state. And these men, in many cases, were good, godly Christian men whose principles were founded upon, in 1620, it would have been the Geneva Bible, but the Geneva Bible just kind of went the wayside, and now we're founded on the King James Bible. And that's what you have. You sort of have a mix. And if you follow the historical trail, 150 years of Bible establishment, and the devil is going to creep in with his men, and that's exactly what happened. And so somebody asked me the question, Pastor Mike, you know, all the men that founded our country, that signed the Declaration, that signed the Constitution, they were all in the Illuminati, and that is not true. That statement is totally not true. They were not all in the Illuminati. They weren't. If that were the case, if all of these men who helped found our nation from the time the Mayflower landed, we wouldn't be around today. I promise you we would not still exist the way we are today. And so I firmly believe, and I've been thinking about and praying about doing a video on this, America by the Book is kind of what the working title. And it's the founding of the land of America, and the people and the culture of America is based upon Christianity and the Bible. Then the devil moves in with all of this stuff. And you have Washington, D.C., representative of the spirit that has moved into the midst of our land. And so hence you have a president coming out of the crypt, standing there at being the capstone of the pyramid, saying, I'm king of the nation. We're going to marry more gay people now than we ever have. Anyway, Tricia, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. Here's what's going on in the news. Former senior military leader Obama only wants military leaders who will fire on U.S. citizens. This is from, where's this from? I don't know. Dave Gibson. On Monday, renowned author and humanitarian Dr. Jim Garrow made a shocking claim about what we can expect to see in Obama's second term. Garrow made the following Facebook post. I've just been informed by a former senior military leader that Obama is using a new litmus test in determining who will stay and who must go in his military leaders. Get ready to explode, folks. The new litmus test of leadership in the military is if they will fire on U.S. citizens or not. Those who will not are being removed. So who is the source? Garrow replied, the man who told me this is one of America's foremost military heroes. Garrow is a well-respected activist and has spent much of his life rescuing infant girls from China, babies who would be killed under that country's one-child policy. He was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize for his work. This comes on the heels of Sunday's report in the Washington Free Beacon. I almost thought that was bacon, Washington Free Bacon, and I was fixing to go get me some of that. Free bacon. Anyway, the Washington Free Beacon, that the head of Central Command, Marine Corps General James Mattis, is being dismissed by Obama and will leave his post in March. The Washington Free Bacon article states, word on the national security street is that General James Mattis is being given the bum's rush out of his job as commander of Central Command and is being told to vacate his office several months earlier than planned. The question is, did General Mattis refuse to, quote, fire on U.S. citizens? We don't know if that story is totally accurate, but is it believable? Yep, it sure is. In light of the fact that during the whole Benghazi thing, and did you see Hillary Clinton going, I was so tore up over this happening, it doesn't matter how it happened, the fact is these men are dead. That's why you're being pulled up in front of Congress, Hill. It's because you think, you want to try to get everybody to think that it doesn't matter how they were killed. It does matter, because if a crime was committed, we need to find out who committed the crime. And by crime, I mean, did President Obama, as been reported, did President Obama, upon hearing word that there was going to be an attack, did he withdraw troops? Did he withdraw help? And when being notified from his top military people, Mr. President, we have Navy SEALs, we have Green Berets, we have guys who specialize, who do nothing but are trained to go in to embassies like ours and get our guys out into safety. We have a program ready. We have the guys with guns in their hands ready to jump out of the airplane when you give the word. And Obama said, no, pull them back. We're not going to do this. And some of these guys were going to go do it anyway. And Obama fired them. Get out. You've been relieved of duty. Is it true? I don't know. Is it believable? Absolutely. Here's another one. Google aims to replace passwords with id chips. Never had any of those. I've got some, I'm kind of liking now dehydrated fruit. I got my dehydrator going down in my office, and it's full of bananas. I'm just kind of into dehydrated, and if I eat that now, I'll spit all over the place, so I'll wait. ID chips. In a research paper, 2 security experts at the web giant have outlined a future in which the main way of guaranteeing we are who we say we are online will be possession of a physical token, perhaps embedded in smartphones or even jewelry. Everybody say this way. Everybody say the word jewelry. And some of you cannot. You're going jewelry. It's jewelry. Well, how do you know? My realtor told me this. Jewelry. They have added to growing claims that passwords are both inherently insecure and increasingly impractical. Passwords are insecure? I thought only people could be insecure. To more make them more difficult, that sentence doesn't make sense. Let me read this. To more make them more difficult for criminals to guess. Maybe you should make that your password, because no one would be able to decipher that one. Web services have forced people to use longer passwords with different types of characters. But that also makes them more difficult to remember. To add to the headache, and be honest, be totally honest. There are some people out there, you may be watching me today, whose password is password. You're the people that they're talking about. Experts also advise using against the same password for different services to reduce the impact if one is hacked. Along with many in the industry, we feel passwords and simple bearer tokens such as cookies are no longer sufficient to keep users safe. We'd like your smartphone or smart card embedded finger ring to authorize a new computer via a tap on the computer, even in situations in which your phone might be without cellular connectivity, the Googlers wrote. There was a movie with Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock. What was it? It wasn't Judge Dredd. What was it? It was, I don't remember. He ended up being cryo-frozen, wakes up in the future, and the how you get into your apartment is you have to use your hand. It's your hand ID. And I'm going, I know what that is. I get it. Department of Homeland Insecurity looks to install microphones in urban areas that can listen to conversations. I told you so. It is the Department of Homeland Insecurity. You know the person, you went to school with them, who always knew that you, when you were with a group of people, you were talking about them. They knew it. They could see you talking and laughing and looking their way, and they knew you were talking about them. That is insecurity, and that is the Department of Homeland Insecurity. They know that every time two people get together, that they're probably talking about destroying the government. So anyway, the Department of Homeland Insecurity is looking to install gunshot detector microphones that are capable of listening to conversations throughout urban areas of Washington, D.C. According to a request of information posted on the Fed Biz Ops website on January 18th, the DHS, in tandem with the Secret Service, is, quote, seeking information on commercially available gunshot detection technologies for fixed-site surveillance applications. Typical coverage areas are expected to be from 10 square to 100 square of acres per site, located within urban areas. Due to the secure nature of these sites, a high gunshot detection rate is strongly desired, while daily operational monitoring of the system by external parties is undesirable. Note that the location of the surveillance system will be in, quote, urban areas and will cover hundreds of acres per each unit. This is why we keep moving our top secret broadcasting bunker, by the way. Because we don't want anything that I say. We don't want anything that I say to be picked up on a microphone. Okay? That's why. Here we go. We were talking about that. You know, I really should do this. I've had the idea, if you've ever visited our church, you know that like Sunday afternoon and Wednesday evening, all the ladies, or some of the ladies, will bombard Rose's office, my secretary, church secretary, and they'll sit in there and now have a little squawk box. You can hear them in there. You can hear them in there. And then their husbands will all gang up in my office. That's why I bought a new couch. I want them to be in comfort. And so they all come in there, and we have a ball. We talk about everything under the sun in there. And we were talking about this last night. Jared come in. Hoggy, did you hear it? And blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah. This is what he was talking about. Blah, 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 blah. No. He was saying this. New bill would require parents to notify school within 30 days if they have any firearms in the house. Catch this now. Catch it. When you register your child for school every year, there's always a big stack of paperwork that needs to be signed, but a new piece of proposed legislation in Missouri would add one more thing to that list. Senate Bill 124 would require parents or guardians of school children to notify the school district or the governing body of a private or charter school that he or she owns a firearm within 30 days of enrolling the child in school or becoming the owner of a firearm. The written notification only needs to include the names of the parent and the children and whether or not he or she owns a firearm. They do not need to list what type or how many firearms they own. Failure to notify the school would be punishable by up to $100. I would walk up to the school and put $100 down on the table and say, here you go. Parents could be charged with negligence and listen to this now. Parents could be charged with negligence. Are you catching this? And I want you to appreciate what's being done here. And the methodology. Because they know that if they say, warning, citizens, please turn in all your firearms. Warning, citizens, please, if they did that,